Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Elisa DiChristina from Are You a Glow Kid? Psychosocial Emotional Educational Program for Optimal Childhood Development. And again, this is primarily in the pre-primary educational years. So the program's 4 to first grade, 4 and 5 is really pre-primary school. I think these skills are so important that children go into their academic educational life having human asset development. Here's what makes us different. This video will talk a little bit about what distinguishes us. First, as I just mentioned, there's not a lot of programming in that pre-primary age when children are like sponges. They're absorbing, learning. They're taking everything in their foundational years, in their formative years. We really want to capitalize on where they are developmentally to give them as much information and skill set as possible. So what we've established is something called the S.E.E.D approach. What the S.E.E.D approach is what we're saying is that this is an educational approach that's going to focus on nurturing the seed. What is the S.E.E.D? It's an acronym for self, and then exchange or interaction, and then environment, and then development. So self, exchange or interaction, environment, and development. So important, huge in today's world in the digital era. We need to strategically focus on and deliberately focus on building the child's human assets. When we talk about S.E.E.D, we're establishing a healthy sense of self and world, which is crucial for wellness and maximizing one's potential. Remember, Are You a Glow Kid is a strength-based program for prevention, that we don't have to go later into an anti-mode. It's not a bully program. It's not just a character program. We're talking about human developmental assets that are sometimes overlooked and not taught so strategically. These are the skills that every parent wants their child to embody regardless of their career choice. We're talking about humanities and establishing a baseline for children in their well function and in their self-navigation. That's what we want to develop. The decency in the human being in the S.E.E.D and nourishing that. So it looks a little bit like this. Acquiring the skills are going to help shape lifelong success. So here's our S.E.E.D acronym. And I want to do a little bit of a diagram in this video that if you take a seed and you look at it, this is the seed. Here's the root. Here's the stem. What distinguishes this program is we're focusing on the seed and giving kids a good foundation for managing their developmental tasks. The stem can always come later. There's going to be many stems. There's going to be many interests. The stems cannot flourish if the seed and the foundation is not intact. We want to keep this really strong. This is why we're honing in on that early childhood education. Let's give them the skills that they need that are often overlooked, and then we have to treat. As a mental health profession, I treated for a long time on the diagnostic side, or then the psychiatrist has the medication side, which of course some people need treatment and medication. But I think we can lessen those outcomes and build so much more wellness into our children to prevent a lot of the high incidences of anxiety, stress, anxiety, depression, the bullying, all of the negative outcomes that lead to a lot of hurt and pain. So we're trying to not even go there. We don't want to do mental health first aid. We want to keep them well so that we don't need to focus so much on everyone knowing behaviors that may come when someone's at risk. We want to try to avoid the at risk altogether. So this is why this is so different. It's a preventative, strength-based program for wellness. And again, here it's just, I love the photos around this. The imagery really shows, again, sunflower growth diagram. So we're using a seed as kind of a way to get the message out that here we are, here's the root and the seed. It's well planted. It's a lot longer than the stem. And we continue to we have to be working on the seed and the foundation. Then the child will be raised up right into whatever he or she decides to pursue as their passion. I'm sure they'll have many trials and interests through sports and music and academics. So, but this part is here where we're focusing on. And we want to develop a whole bunch of tiny little seeds that are loving to each other, that know how to function on their own cognizance through life into their adulthood. This is so important because what's happening is for children nowadays in modern society, the academic pressure has never been so high. So the academic environment has changed drastically over the last decades, right? So you have an increase in academic pressure. You have an increase in structure work for the child. You have an increase in measuring statistics. So not only is all that pressure there, but I'm going to put more pressure by measuring what you learned, how you learned it. So I'm very focused in my academics on measuring all those statistics, which is creating a lot of anxiety and stress for many children. And then we have an increased expectations on their performance under all these conditions. So it's really important, again, that somebody go in and advocate and educate on how are we helping them adapt to all this pressure is critical for wellness. If we're putting more pressure, then we need to put more skills. And so that's our aim, is to make a foundation, a healthy, solid foundation that anyone can use. These are lifelong success skills, human development skills. Children have never been so stressed, so anxious, so depressed. Not to sound negative, there's not been as many suicide attempts or completed suicides by children at a young age. So again, and at a young age that's lower and lower, we are not an anti-suicide. We're not an anti-bully. We are a wellness, strategic wellness, navigational roadmap. And the parents really can help advocate, push the program into the preschools, because as a mother of two, I think it's very important that every child know this. I know that there's a fear of why is this happening to our children? What's going on? There's like a little bit of out of control, or maybe a disjointedness between the parents sometimes in the academic and the educational arena. And I think that we really have done a nice job bridging the gap from the lesson plan to go back home to the parent, and everybody's on the same peaceful, educational, collaborative page. And the skill is reinforced in the home and in the community and taught in the school or in the more formal setting. It doesn't have to be a school. It could be a youth group or a scout group. But these are the keys. These are the foundational building blocks of what I would feel good as a parent, my child knowing. And the math and the spelling test, we could always help them use the techniques of memorization or the math techniques being taught to them later. I would implore the focus to be on building the human being. The skills of the STEM can always be taught later. If you have a child that's intact, if we're not giving them the ability to stay intact, it really doesn't matter how much division we're teaching them or what else we're trying to have them learn. So this is so important, and it's important because of the digital era. So we have language delay, speech delay, we have so many delays because of the screens, right? The screen addiction, the digital era has caused a lot of delays in our children. That even so much that there's studies that show that children are delaying, they have a delayed onset into adulthood, meaning they don't have the skills to enter into adulthood. The primary function and the other thing that's really important, why this program is so important, is that play has changed drastically. So play is the cornerstone of how children learn. So play is their natural work. That's biology. That's a biological need for a child to play. I need to talk about this for a minute. Adults play very differently. Adults play, I'm going to beat you in the tennis match, 1 for 1, 2 for 2. We have a competitive play. We play for an end result. A lot of times when we play, it's for an end result. When children play, it is so different that the key distinguishing factor is they're playing to play in and of itself. So they're not looking to have an end result. So they may, and there's so many different types of play. I'm going to do a video on the different types of play. But they're playing for the value of play. So what's happened is a lot of the play has changed into the screenplay, and what we see is further delays in the development because there's something called parallel play and onlooker play and observer play. There's different types of play. What we see a lot is the child may be sitting with the screen doing less interactive play, so they're not able to pretend play, for example. They're not able to say, I'm the mom, you're the dad. They're not able to learn about life through their play in their pretend play role because they're now using a screen, right? So they're not acting that out and emoting that and feeling that and, honey, I'm home. Oh, you're home? They're not able to show affect into their play as much as they used to. Their natural forms of play have changed drastically along with the digital era movement. So we see a lot of delays for that. What we'll see is children sitting on the screen next to each other and almost parallel playing, but more internal. So I'm in my screen, the other child's in their screen, and there's less opportunity to socialize or interact. That's why we have to deliberately and strategically teach them the skills that the play from years ago was naturally teaching them. That opportunity for play has been declined. Statistically, unstructured play has been declining. And recess has also statistically shortened. So we have to remedy this by introducing programs that address certain skills that are going to teach our children navigation that they may not be picking up again from the academics or other areas of their life. And we're going to deliberately counterbalance the digital error, the academic demands, and the loss of play opportunities, while strategically creating a cohesive relationship with the academic and the home environment. So we're not confused as to what is a parenting role versus what is an educator's role. I think we need to clarify that. That's probably another video. I know this is a little long-winded, but I really feel like our distinguishing factors are critical as to why this program has a very different approach. Thank you for watching.